Yeah, so one of the ways that I would create, like to support individual, especially in a situation where they can't always talk, was maybe started off with like something written, which here is difficult because everything is written, right?
Well,
but it can help those.
What I also have them doing is making a reader response every time they do a reading. That ideally gives them something that they can talk about,
Right.
like just on hand, just available there. Also, it gives me something that like I wasn't thinking about that, and I read this before the discussion. Now I know all the things you're thinking.
Right.
It also tells me like if they are able to access it, because some people have the ability to like sit and think and like understand, but they can't quickly come up with a thought process on the spot. Where others might be able to take like, oh, you said that, I'm going to respond to this, like take it my own direction.
They do it very quickly.
And I mean, that could be a bad thing where someone could be like taking things to tangents, taking things as adjacent. I do it all the time.
I do it too.
Yeah, we're like, oh, well, that reminds me of this thing. Wait, we weren't talking about that.
No, I know, I do that too. This one activity that one of our support teachers showed me was putting posters around the room with the question on it. So, for example, your social media question. We would have like 4 or 5 posters, depending on whatever the topic was, and each poster would have a different question on it. Then what the students would do is they would told that the first round they have to be quiet. They have to just think about the question. They go around, they can go to any poster that they want, and they have to answer the question, writing it down. Once everybody has answered all the posters, the second time they can talk to each other if like they see something, but they have to reply to a comment. And it was one way that I saw, like with collaborative learning, positive social interaction, engagement, having a student that could never keep quiet, could finally keep quiet and focus. Having a student that could never talk because they didn't know what the starting point was. Oh my gosh, he said this. No, I don't agree with that. But to their friend. Not saying it to the whole class because they don't feel comfortable saying that. Yeah. So there are ways. You just have to think. I think the reader response sounds good though.
Well, that too, but I also now I just want to do that because
it's amazing. It'll change your life.
Well, I mean, I've just been kind of sitting down. A big problem with it, I suppose, is my 2 online kids.
So what you could do is you could almost do it. I mean, just to like accommodate. Just post the questions for them in the chat and tell them to type their answers, and then you could even just have 1 or 2 people respond to them.
Someone was using
Padlet.
Padlet would probably be a good choice for that too.
Yeah.
It was Ken, I think.
Honestly, in the environment that I was in where I could never get the kids to keep quiet, it was great. We could do an entire lesson. Because then I would go, okay, respond to this person. And obviously you have to, I don't think it would be an issue here. You have to give warnings about please don't write inappropriate things.
No,
but I don't
kids don't have access to that kind of like
vocabulary.
One of my Korean students, she said something in Korean. I'm like, are you cursing at me?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, how could I do that? What I do? I'm like, Sungju, I don't think you could potentially lie and not feel bad about lying to me. You would break down.
Exactly. It would be like everything. So we did this in one of our PDs. It's called a chalk talk. I'm not sure why. Maybe because you're talking with chalk, but you're not. So like you can do it with a poster. You can do it with Post-its.
Ever used the? You don't use Zoom. I was just wondering like the whiteboard, if that would be accessible.
I did during online. But
can students access draw on it at the same time?
Yep.
It might be a good idea to just have everyone go on Zoom for a few minutes and then just whiteboard it up.
Yeah, do like one. Yeah, just do it like that. Just think about how you can do it. Because also with social distancing, we don't really want. I mean, how big is the class?
It's actually, I think it's like 16 kids.
Yeah. Okay. So with the posters, I mean, even like here, you can see the kids end up getting in each other's space. So I would do it maybe on Zoom. Yeah, I would do it on Zoom because then the online kids can participate.
Which, we all have to try that.
Exactly. Positive social interaction, active engagement, collaborative learning. You're supporting the individual who wants to chat, doesn't want to chat.
It has a formative assessment in it. It is a formative assessment.
It is a formative assessment. Yeah, I love it.
Right now I am planning for instruction.
We're planning.
I do also have the lesson plan because I have to show that to you at some point as well.
Okay. Planning for instruction. Does the candidate draw upon knowledge of a appropriate instructional strategies. Perfect. Technological tools.
That
Awesome.
would be in there as
Yeah,
well.
perfect.
Now, then the last two, like they're
Mhm.
just vaguely hard to respond to. I mean, this is not the full rubric. Obviously, I didn't want to print off
Right,
the full
right,
rubric because it's
yeah.
14 pages.
Yeah, exactly. I did look at it last night.
But
I
like,
just don't remember where I
yeah,
clicked on.
does the candidate participate in professional development and other professional growth experience this week? I mean, I have to.
Yes. Well, you are on Friday as well,
Yes.
and we're doing professional development with ELL
Yeah.
teachers and collaboration between departments. It's going to be.
It's often not great.
I feel that. Okay, which one was it again now? Oh no, it wasn't here. It was.
It would be probably.
No, wait, it was here somewhere. I clicked on something and then I found it. I don't want to stress you out. I had it. It was on the top right-hand side.
Module 8, teacher proficiencies, activity baseline video.
It's fine. I'll find it later. I need to just download it. I thought I downloaded it. Oh, there.
See, I know how things work. I can
Yes.
almost even find that boy's book that he didn't have.
I gave the other class a lecture today. I'm like, it's not my responsibility to find the book that you should be reading every day because
Just
clearly you
out of
haven't.
curiosity, why didn't you have it upload to like Google Classroom? Or
Because I was assigning different books to different
whatever?
kids.
You can do that.
I didn't know that until after. So when I was assigning, because now I've been doing like boy in the striped pajamas activities, and then the one day I clicked and it was like all students, and then I went,
Oh, maybe.
Oh, I can
maybe
assign
not
this
all.
just to
Yeah.
the boy in the striped pajamas, but it was like because last year I didn't do it quite like that. So yeah, it was like an after the fact thing, and then it was also a on day one download the book that I've given you.
Yeah.
But I
as
also spoiled them.
Junitas has said, why?
Why would I do that? But I've also spoiled them because I've been posting daily YouTube audiobooks for them.
Nice.
Like downloading the video and then posting it on their computer so they can listen to the book and read it as they're listening. So
What a zillennial thing to say, or a Gen Z thing to say is like, why would always have internet? Why would I? need
right,
to
like
download
why I can only not watch YouTube videos at school. Like
Yeah.
why wouldn't I be able to watch it at home?
or just read it on because I have internet everywhere because that's how
Right.
life is.
I know, I can't imagine a world without Wi-Fi. Okay, so yes, will you be participating in professional development this week? Yes. ELL collaboration. Do you have, what assessment? Do you have an assessment ready? We have to bring a future assessment. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it
guess
said.
so.
Yeah.
I just made a rubric for a presentation that's going
Yeah,
on
perfect.
next week, and the week after, depending on the grade. I make my grade 11s and grade 9s do the same assessment, the same project, but I expect much more from the grade 9s.
Right,
Well,
the grade
actually,
nines aren't
the
going to
grade
delve. You think so? They won't delve as deep into
Let's
it.
put it this way: Diego and Hannah Julia have both picked human.
She's only in grade 9?
No.
She's in grade 11,
Yeah.
he's in grade 9.
Yeah, they both picked human trafficking, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, but get ready to feel real sad.
Yeah, I've had that before where like a student picks like abortion as their topic, and I'm like,
Well, I made them pick a problem in the world, right? A real problem with the world.
I've done that exact project.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's a
But they
fun
do
one.
but it was also nice to see some aha moments, especially because we're living in Morocco and
Mm.
religious wise. You have this Muslim girl now wanting to write about abortion because she actually believes in it, and then the girls around her going, what, and like just all these like,
I mean,
aha
I already
moments.
gave them one where it's like, you're aware that there's more slavery now than there has been ever in recorded history, right?
crazy.
And they're like, no, it's an 1800s thing. Like, you're talking about America and black slavery. I'm talking mostly about slavery.
Yeah, exactly. And even just, just human trafficking in general, like in Morocco there were a lot of
There was a
kids.
child, there were children being trafficked from Georgia just a couple days ago.
Oh, wasn't it in that big truck? Like they found
40 plus kids. I think there was a raid on a home. And
Where do they find them? Or they were in American camps. I didn't even read the article.
some of them are. I mean, they say this is our podcast I was listening to, so I can't cite the source exactly. But they say in the U.S. I can't be right. It can't be right, but in the U.S., but they say every 40 seconds a child goes.
I've heard statistics like that.
700,000 children a year. That sounds like it's way too many.
We had this huge campaign in South Africa where this, I don't know, some company, they just did this advert at our local mall. Like when it came on, I was like, oh my gosh, like we stood in that exact spot. And they literally videotaped just people in the mall. And this young looking girl would go up to the kids while the parents were shopping and give them like, you know, those big rainbow candies, like those big lollipops.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just videotape like the woman walking up to the kid, giving it, mom hasn't even seen it, and just walking 10 steps with the kid. And then mom turns around. And then they would go to her and say, we're doing a human trafficking awareness campaign. And some of them would like start crying and others would be like furious. But it was like, this is it. It's crazy. Yeah, it's very